yet?
No.
No, darn it. Okay. Then go. If I talk to it, maybe it'll work.
It is still not here.
Entire screen and share.
There.
It should show part of the recording and now the presentation.
Yes. We're good.
There you go.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And Joy, thank you for a nice introduction. So this virtual presentation would have been a whole lot more fun had we been in person, but COVID has done a lot of stop gaps for everybody. So we have the National Library of Medicine regional groups have lots of virtual things that you can use, from citizen science programming all the way to speakers that you can have for training or for your library, for your staff, or to showcase with, as we are doing today, with the state librarians so that they can have more fodder, more great ways to find evidence-based materials. So today, what I will be doing is going through NIH basics. We have a lot of organizations, part of the National Institute of Health. I will be showing you a couple of the highlights that are the more prominent health and wellness resources. And you certainly can have used some of these links in the past. I find the ones that I chose are terrific, so there is a little bias here. If you have questions, I will be monitoring the chat on periodically, so I will take a couple of breaks. And one thing I would, when we do get into the section that is part of MedlinePlus, I would ask you to look at a health topic that you have a curiosity about, and we can go and look at that. Take just a moment to slide from the presentation slideshow to an actual live website. So let's go. There are objects to everything. So we want to identify the National Library of Medicine and their partnerships. We're focusing a lot on the national health topics, which is part of the program that comes with my job listing of a community engagement network. We'll also talk a lot about the trainings that are online and in person, although in person has certainly been a change. We may not see a lot of in-person programming done until later in the fall. And then providing information on the funding resources that we have for public health. I did note that Kathleen Engstrom is here from the Arvin A. Brown Library, and she had a technology grant. I'm sure if you connect with her, she would be happy to tell you a little bit about that. So next is if you aren't familiar with our area, actually as of next year, the New England region is going to pick up New York, which is kind of fun, because New York by itself is almost the population density of all of New England. So it's going to be quite interesting. But you can see that we have our regional libraries. There are 8 of them. It will go down to 7 for next year. I'm not sure exactly which of the Pacific areas are being merged. The national offices are open for you to also use. So if you had concerns about public health, we do have a coordination office that would be able to help you with that. If you are doing a training and you're not sure how to get that connection, our training office is more than happy to be reached, and you can go to the you're going to get these slides. So you can go to the live link that's down here on the right and connect to whichever office that it is listed. So the mission of the network is basically to advance the progress of medicine and improve public health. We accomplish this by providing all U.S. health professionals with equal access to biomedical information and improving the public access to information. Our goal is to support everyone and helping them making informed decisions. And when we give you information, you are able to bring that to your patrons. It's amazing that there are more than 7,000 members that are part of the NNLM. And it can be anywhere from academic health science libraries, to biomedical or public libraries, and even community-based organizations. NIH, you've probably seen this guy, Dr. Francis Connors and Dr. Fauci have been making a lot of headlines. They are part of also the All of Us research program. We are an initiative of the NIH. And what our program is looking at is to invite 1 million participants from genetic backgrounds, lifestyles, and environments. So when you hear that some groups are not represented in research, which has been the case for many years, NIH has been trying to change that direction since 2015. And we have now the largest biomedical data set of over 350,000 people enrolled that are all over the age of 18 and US citizens. Actually, they don't have to be a citizen to enroll. They just have to live in the US. So the mission basically falls to accelerating health research and giving individuals the ability to have more information about prevention, treatment, and their care. Precision medicine, if you haven't heard of it before, it's kind of a new approach still. Everything in medicine that's less than 10 years old is considered new. So it's improving health and treating disease, and hopefully we can look at 3 areas of identification in our habits, our environment, and our biology or genetic component. So medicine shouldn't be a cookie cutter, one size fits all approach. We want to get the right treatment for each person at the right time, and basically looking to keep people healthy longer. So the ultimate decision for precision medicine is a more accurate diagnosis and earlier detection. One of the components that I will talk about is that this is a really unique program. So joining all of us helps us capture our diversity. In our area in New England, our focus is rural and suburban areas. We find that urban areas seem to get a lot more because people have transportation, but the others don't. So we're trying to look at historically underrepresented communities to get them an opportunity for biomedical research. So people of color, diverse sexual orientation and gender identification, older adults, and people with disabilities or living in different environments. So we have actually quite a few folks that are have been part of the program for a while that are living in Boston, but they are in homeless shelters. So there's always questions when you hear about research. Some of the things that we've gotten have been, what about if I have chronic pain? How are you going to be able to help me find out what will work for me? And in the aspect of this program is it may end up looking at the genetic factors that are part of your gene pool and finding that you've been taking something, but it's because of your genetic components that medication you've been taking has been proven not to work as effectively. It's kind of like if I have a headache and you have a headache, we may take a different medication or a different dose. The value for participants is all of us as a research program taking part is free. You know that there are commercial DNA kits sold by private companies, but the aspect for research with all of us is this is not something that you give in and your information gets shared. Your information is kept very presented very kind of enhanced encryption, and it is only used by the researchers that are part of the program. So we actually do a whole genome sequencing. It's at no cost to you, and you would end up, if you were to go out and have that done with your doctor's support, it would probably cost up to $1,000. One nice thing, I am in this program, and one nice thing that they just started is they will have genetic counselors available. So if I were part of the 2% of the population that had a rare disease, I would be able to have a genetic counselor provide me a counseling report and get me educational material that I could share either those results with my family healthcare provider or my family itself. But how would you say all of us is different? Well, instead of looking at a specific disease like a lot of research programs do, they're covering a variety of health concerns. The diversity portion is being able to not just look at those that come into the doctor's office of one background, one race, one culture, but it is rooted in the precision medicine that we are looking for a radical shift on getting our unique participants and allowing everyone to become engaged in the program. So a lot of the goals and part of the reason that I'm giving you this information is the program has been running for 3 years and has a 10-year reach. So as it is moving across the United States, moving now in New England, in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, it is slowly moving up to the northern areas. So this information that I'm giving you, you may already have heard about, or you may be getting folks coming to you. So we are trying to get the capacity of library staff to have not only the great resources from the National Library of Medicine, but also the information that comes to you about all of us. Well, here we go. So community education is one component. So it's health information literacy. We have robust trainings for librarians on how and where to find reliable, accurate health information and passing on that information to your users, some of whom may even be participants in the All of Us research program. Although there may not be a medical community that is in your neighborhood, they are also doing a lot of virtual reach. And our aim from NNLM is to provide you digital and health literacy training and programming. Recently, we had an importance webinar on digital literacy and its impact on understanding health information. It was done through the Wisconsin Health Literacy Program. We also are partnered with the Public Library Association to end up helping promote digital literacy and resources. So the community engagement is always looking to partner with their library, public library friends in their neighborhood. And I am always happy to connect with you and help you with finding information or looking at your learning platform and helping you develop PowerPoints. All of this work is done for free. I love doing outreach and community education. So some of our priority projects, because of course, every company has a direction they want you to go. So some of the priority projects are looking at mental health and emotional wellness. Cancer, diabetes, heart health have always been on a priority for the nation, and as well as nutrition. And that would be not just for nutrition for adults as they age, but also for youth. So we have lots of layers in our education grouping. I will show you, and if you're interested in one particular area, I will be able to show you some of those direct links that you can download and use at your library with toolkits that are free. So precision medicine, again, looking at the aspect that we have exhibit kits for programming and engagement that will help you with engaging your library community around health and wellness topics. We also have connections to local health clinics and national clinics, and we are finding that a lot of these partners that are part of our NNLM group are very happy to be an expert speaker on a health topic that you are looking for. Next, we are looking at how libraries are partners in community health. So the NNLM, All of Us Community Engagement Network, has basically a big partnership through the National Library of Medicine. So each of the networks do something different for outreach, but our goal is still leveraging the importance of how the public library plays in their community. You're in the front row, and we appreciate that. We want to help you become very successful and build up your communities. One way of doing that is through the Community Engagement Network. This is one section where I'm going to pause, escape from the PowerPoint, and come into the actual home page for nnlm.gov, All of Us. So this is the Community Engagement Network page. There are drop-down menus, a little bit about us and our training center, but the one I wanted to really showcase is the resources. So if you're looking for Speakers Bureau, we are now getting this a little bit more built up. There's a lot more to come for the fall. We have our health community of practice. I'll connect on to that so you can see. It'll just show you that ways to participate is we're going to have material for engaging with NLM by joining. And then I pop back over to citizen science, show you this connection. We have engaged SciStarter with programs on citizen science. We have several programs that are quite exciting that can be done by an individual, a group, by a senior person or a teenager or a family. So Globe at Night is something that is fairly new, and I believe that is actually coming up in the middle of July. We have a training. Crowd the Tap, another one that's kind of fun, looking at safe drinking water, and all of these can be done. Pretty much they're free, and it's a fun little project on research that you can become your own citizen scientist. The last little part is the summer reading. So we have now books that are complimentary, and they are, you've probably heard of quite a few of these. They are all downloadable so that you can find those and use them when you need to. So the mission of NNLM is advancing the progress of medicine and improving public health by both providing U.S. health professionals equal access to biomedical information and also improving public access to the information so they can make better decisions. Quite a few of the health national health observances that you've probably heard about, not only have a curiosity for quite a few folks, but we also end up having toolkits, and I'm going to pop off again. So I hope I'm not making you dizzy. Thank you for, here we go. Where are we going back? One more. Whoops. And initiatives. We need the total page. Nope. Lost my page. I apologize for that. Take a second to just pop back and go back to resources. So now your National Health Observance information for you that goes by month has already been populated for every month. And we pop down to July, you'll see the American Disabilities Act Day is the 26th. There is a reading club information, there is posters, there is also a full library kit, and I will also showcase a couple of those other library kits that are available. So when you're doing programming, you often look ahead. So here's September and October, Health Literacy Month, one of my favorites. And not only do we end up having kits for you, but we have social media materials that will have a nice photo and a little blurb that you can put onto your social media. Joy, do we have any questions at the moment in our chat?
We do not, but I have one thing I was hoping you could clarify. But the speakers that you were talking about, are they also free, or is there a fee for those?
Nope, we've already paid for them. So the speakers, I can run back up to the top of the page. Here's your Speakers Bureau. So we have folks that have signed up to be a speaker. We are putting together this at the moment. We're hoping to have a nice grouping by fall. This is something that we are just starting on because of COVID. We were figuring that we need to have a lot more virtual programming. So this is a bureau, a grouping that we should have, and I will be sending out those to you to send out to your listservs. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's terrific. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is kind of what some of our little program kits look like. It starts off with activate, educate kind of format. So we activate the mind, we educate the public, and hopefully we have engaged and collaborated with groups that can share these stories. It could end up being a senior group that want to talk about World War whatever. But it's all health outreach and programming that is for your communities, and these are all free. How many of you have taken courses with NNLM? You can put your information in the chat. I'll pop back. So Joy has, and Kathleen has. Awesome, thank you.
I have.
Who's that?
My name is Berta, and I was a medical librarian at Copley Hospital for 15 years. Stopped working in 2001 up there, and now I'm a retired high school librarian working in a small public library.
Oh, how awesome. So it's nice. It's nice to be able to pick and choose through the training schedule and look at the different resources. This one is a little bit old on the photo that's up here, but we do have some amazing classes. One webinar that was recently started, it's a self-paced consumer health program is Beyond an Apple a Day. It's one of the favorites that I provide in person, but it has been done through Moodle classes. So Moodle is kind of a slow way to learn so that you do it as you have the time. But it's pretty nice looking at the evolution of consumer health and health literacy and kind of the electronic patient. A couple of the folks are outreach coordinators from different regions. Quite a few of these classes also are eligible for the Consumer Health Information Specialist. So that's part of a continuing education credit awarded that is under the Medical Library Association, and we sponsor it. So it's sponsored through the National Network of Libraries of Medicine that gives you information. It kind of gives you another set of numbers or alphabets to put at the end of your title. Next section is looking at the network again, but talking about other classes that we have. So not just the program kits you just saw, but we can support you with library outreach, such as the digital literacy campaign. When COVID-19 hit, NNLM had already been in the beginning stages of implementing a nationwide plan for reaching communities on the other side of the digital divide. Boy, this pandemic has not slowed us down in getting things moving. So our Training and Education Center has released a series of online training modules. And in the next several months, we will promote opportunities for you, our partners, to learn how to support your community through the digital divide by providing more skills. One of the classes that we're looking at is doing a digital health literacy, kind of a pre-train the trainer, so that if you hadn't done digital or on presentations such as this one, we would help you with getting the internet skills so that you'd be able to have more strength in and be able to engage your partners. I showed you a lot about the citizen science campaign, so scistarter.org, you can also go right to there. It's a fantastic way really to engage in research. It's not just medical research, and the nice thing is that you don't have to, like, some people think of research as you have to be sick, but this is a way to look at our environment and not just the individual person. So the community of practice for health, consumer health professionals, we've really looked at a great focus with women recently. So Women's Health Research is now our feature organization. We will be changing to different formats. The next one, I believe, is going to be Black Girl Health. And then following that is a LGBTQ. I'm not sure if that is in this fall. Other ways that we can engage is to have, you can have your staff logging in to take any of the NNLM classes. If the library is already the organization that is in, anyone can take them. So here's another little bit about our consumer health conversation series. So it's kind of a call to action for you. First is this is being developed. We may be sending out questions or questionnaires, and if you're interested in being part of our helping with our facilitate a health topic, then please send me an email so we can see what we can do to support your organization. If you're curious on who are our national partners, it is pretty darn large. I apologize, this is not, some of these are a little bit fuzzy to read as they got pretty small, but one of the larger partners that I have a connection with is the Cobb Institute, which is located not only in Boston, but also down in Connecticut, and also the YMCA. So we have a lot of different programs, outreach, and the American Academy of HIV Medicine is also a Massachusetts, or they're national, but they also have specific offices in certain areas. And we're calling them our community engagement partnerships. The next couple of slides I would like to show you are part of what the funding has been in National Library of Medicine New England for the All of Us research program. So we have offered funding to help you with resources, either to do outreach or community engagement or technology. So we end up looking at hopefully a reach to a wide range of audiences. So you will see that we started with the first year that I had funding. One group was the Burlington Public Library. They got a technology grant. They used it in conjunction with a speaker from Tufts who came in and spoke regarding seasonal affect disorder. And they ended up purchasing through their technology a couple of these major, pretty amazing lamps. They had one that was going out for once a week. You could kind of like a book. So you could take it out because it was a lamp instead of a book. It was utilized for a week and then you had to return it and then you could take it out again if nobody was in line. But they also had one, which is the one on the right, which is used by the library staff very much so, and nobody else is using it. And they, if you go to look at Burlington Public Library and look for a YouTube video, you will find that they actually had an amazing video that was done by their local TV station. It was pretty cute. Another really awesome outreach program that we had, this is the Alhambra Academy. It's a local school that had a citizen science program that was funded through our All of Us program. There were chickens. They ended up being able to rent a chicken. They had a coop with 2 chickens and talk to the children about the cycle of life. Not really where do babies come from, but it was pretty amazing. They are a nonprofit community-based school. It's the first accredited Muslim school in New England, and they're also STEM certified, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And their principal, Dr. Ala, was pretty engaged in getting her students, almost 200 students, to have robust science and health programming. They didn't have enough funding and they reached out to us. We were very happy to see. As you can see, the little cutie pies ended up with a nutritionist that came in and talked to the school children about nutrition. They had a dental office come in and talk about brushing their teeth. And they were able to each grade was able to take a field trip to the library and learn about taking out a book. Another initiative you may be aware of is the graphic medicine connection that we have at NER. So it's an emerging field still. Comics get a lot of attention for medical education. They're also a help for health literacy for folks that don't want to sit and read a dense book, but they engage better when they read through something that has a visual contact. So we provide training and tools and these graphic novels. Unfortunately, we are not sending them out right now for their reading kits because we are not in the office yet, but we do expect, well, we're hoping that we will be there by the middle or end of August. The library at UMass Medical School will be opening the beginning of August, and we should follow a little bit after that. Another component of All of Us is an educational exhibit. This is kind of cool. You can walk inside, get some information about what research is, and the exhibit is not coming through the US now because of COVID, but when it does travel around, it promotes awareness of the program, and you can host it if you were interested. Last year, it came through multiple areas in Connecticut, including New Haven and Middletown, and then it went to Providence, Rhode Island, and finally into Boston and Worcester. Every time it stopped, it partnered with the public library, and at several of the areas, it also had local healthcare providers that came and local health clinics that helped promote a health fair with the library, which brought a lot of attention. The Boston Public Library was excited because they ended up signing up quite a few more of their new patrons. Now we're going to look at National Institute of Health. So the next few slides are looking at consumer health information connecting with NIH. Did you know there are 27 NIH organizations and institutes at the Bethesda campus? I know you're familiar with the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. So we see a lot of Dr. Fauci, who's got a few librarians that actually have bobbleheads of him, which because he's got amazing evolving information around the coronavirus. MedlinePlus is another connection that I would like to put up for you. So we're going to join our main page for MedlinePlus, and want to just give you a couple of areas for links. If you have Spanish-speaking partners and you are looking for information, just connecting to that link, you will find that the page will turn into Espanol for patrons to view. Some of the fun things that are on here are videos, medical tests, encyclopedias, and the health topics. But I want to scroll down a little bit to health in multiple languages, that a lot of organizations are looking for something that could be Russian or Hmong, but you're looking for something that may be able to give you a piece of paper that's an easy to read article. Also, there are health recipes that just came out recently, but when you're looking at health information, these disorders are coming out for body location, your diagnosis or therapy, and they're organized in specific groups. You could be looking at K to 12, you could be looking at disasters, and even for specific population groups. It's clicked on a few times for teenagers. I have been looking at vaping with teenagers, as it has been smoking and vaping has been quite a concern. And I ended up getting some information for the local high school. The health science teacher was very excited that she had a lot of different information that she hadn't had for printouts, including depression. But the last thing I want to show you is that it also goes into disasters. And although we may not think that COVID is a disaster, it actually is the aspect of coping with change. So sometimes you're looking at depression and the concern that somebody needs to have some assistance. So a lot of these areas will bring you to articles and tips for reducing stress. Most of our NIH links go to other NIH services, such as the National Institute of Mental Health. National Institute on Aging is another one of my very most favorites, since our population in the US has increased exponentially as our ages 85 and higher are getting to be, or even 65 and higher are getting to be our bigger population. So information you can find here can run everywhere to Alzheimer's and dementias, to caregivers' health, healthy eating. How do you talk to your family about the end of life? And that's part of advanced care planning. You may note that there are even, if you go into the link, you'll find that there is health information that you can download, but there's also booklets that you can order that are free, that when they open back up, I believe that's in September, they will be able to send you booklets that you can have as handouts. We'll look at a couple of more areas before we wind up. So Daily Med, another connection with information that you can find for drug interactions, side effects, even pets. So there's a veterinarian link in here. So you can see pet owners, what happens when you give Fido or Kitty one of those pills to make them feel better, what's the side effect. There's information on infants and children's, also about everything, not just regular drugs, but vitamins. So supplements are in here as well. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So if you want to know if your supplement interacts with your regular medication, it's in here. Health Reach is what I had clicked on. That is part of the connection for MedlinePlus. The left image shows you that 20 of the largest health topics, but there really are almost 400 topics in there. And the right image is showing you the kind of the size of the collection of the language for health documents. So 74 of the collection is made up of documents, and 13% actually has nice audio readings. And there are another 13% of videos. So basically, you've got 60 languages in this database, and you never know when you're going to need something different. Another fun place to go is the genetics home reference, especially if you're looking for scientific information or you have some budding science students, medical students. There's some pretty interesting links that can bring you to talk about genetic and rare diseases. And it also shows you a lot about the cells. So it's helping me understand genetics on the bottom is pretty cool. There's classroom links for science teachers for school. Cancer.gov, it's not one of our favorite topics, but it seems to link to a lot of people. Types of cancers go to A to Z, as did MedlinePlus. It'll show you the diagnosis and the staging, or how cancer is for the person. There's also information for coping, and a nice connection that goes not just information for patients, but also for caregivers. They're also not only, they're similar to all of us, they are looking for healthy volunteers. And they will have a link that'll go to the National Institute of Complementary and Alternative Medicine. So that'll give you approaches that are safe and effective, but not harmful. Now, SARS, COVID-19, definitely in our purview. So coronavirus is a large family of virus. Actually, it's been in our world for years and years. It can cause anything from mild to moderate upper respiratory illnesses, and even feel like it's just a common cold. It's the 3 new viruses that have emerged in the past 2 decades that have been the problem, causing the serious and widespread illness that we certainly know about. So these links will show you how to protect yourself, what to do if you're sick. The CDC has the self-checker for symptoms, and NIH has more information on the latest treatment and research and how it's moving forward. So NIH resources, because we are in a moment of change. Working from home, good grief. It was great to work from home when the family was all working or at school, but it's not so much fun when you're all together. And what happens when you're concerned for aging parents or other family members? So ways that you can reduce your anxiety during these uncertain times can be through the National Center of Complementary and Integrative Medicine. So A to Z topics: acupuncture, cannabis, anxiety, herbs at a glance, one of my favorites. How do specific herbs or botanicals help with reducing? Chamomile tea could be a favorite. Also pain. Some of the common reasons that people look at that area is to look for different health approaches to chronic pain. And then the National Institute of Mental Health has a lot of information on depression, but it also talks about coronavirus and managing anxiety and stress. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. I want to thank you very much and let you know that these slides will be provided to all of the participants today. I will also be looking at asking you to take this red cap quick survey. It is very short. I'm going to come back to the stop sharing.
Catherine, that was terrific. There are so many great resources and so accessible because they're paid for and such a variety of topics. Thank you so much for sharing this. We can take questions now. If you have questions for Catherine, you can write them in the chat or unmute yourselves. There are not that many of us, so I think it should work to just kind of organically unmute yourself and we won't all be talking at the same time. No questions from anybody? I think there's a lot to process in this, and so it'll be great to have the slides and be able to go back and just sort of dig into them slowly and pull out what might be helpful for your patrons.
I type in thank you, but I do say it to everyone. I know that sometimes we're looking for specific resources, and so it's layering of an onion when you're looking in some of these NIH areas. So please feel free to connect with me if there's something that you have on your mind but haven't been able to grasp yet. I have my email right next to me all the time, and I may get back to you that same day or potentially within a day.
I can attest, this is Joy, that she's very responsive and very helpful and patient with questions.
I'm curious about plant toxicity. Parsnip, can overwintering parsnips cause, is there a connection between the homegrown parsnip and the wild parsnip that has the phototoxicity issues? I've got a horrendous rash right now, and we've pulled the overwintered parsnips out of the garden, but I'm just not sure what I have. Just curious where that might be, info about that.
I am right now looking at, let me see.
I've seen conflicting stuff. USDA says not, my doctor says yes. Yeah, I know.
So out of the links that I showed you, I'm actually scrolling back. I'm going to see if it's in. Start a new tab.
I left them alone because they were so pretty.
So if you were on the, I'm going to put the link in the chat box.
Okay. Where is the chat box? Because all I see on mine at the very top of my screen, I'm using an iPad, is someone started recording. And I came in late, and maybe I just don't have the right view.
So
Do
are
you-
you seeing a little bubble that looks like, it's like a bubble with lines in it? It's
No,
next
I
to the
don't.
little, do you have a, like a toolbar down in, it's on the bottom on my
I'm
screen.
touching now. Yes, I see. I have ... and I have a red block with what looks like a phone.
Okay, that would hang up. Don't do that. But
Oh, I
try
won't.
the, and do you have a little hand next to the three dots?
No. Should I touch the three dots?
turn your screen so it's sideways instead of up and down, and see if it opens up.
Oh, wait a minute. I have something up top. I just saw. Whoops. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are you there with me?
Yeah, we're still here.
Oh, shoot. I touched something and now I have privacymicrosoft.com. Should I go back to Teams at the
Yes.
top of my screen? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm back here now. I'm turning my screen. That hasn't changed anything. I was horizontal. Now it's vertical.
Berta, we can also email you that link.
Thank you.
It's no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I will take all the links out of the chat. I'm actually adding one right now, which is the, as I said at the beginning, if you could all do, in addition to Catherine's evaluation, one for the Department of Libraries so that we can assess our programming and the way that we're using this grant, and that would be very helpful. So I'm putting that grant or that link in there now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So Patrick, you're asking me if the resources are through a subscription or grant funded. All the resources that we provide are all free. All of these web pages and links are all free. Everything from NIH, you already paid for it. You're paying into the government somehow. And
Okay.
we expect to have, at least through the network grouping, we expect to have trainings and all sorts of information. If you send us a specific topic, we'll look for that for you and get it to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yep, you can go on to, let me find my page. Huh? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
It looked like you left the meeting for a minute, but you're
I
back.
did. I just disappeared for just a quick second and I surprised myself. That wasn't my plan. I'm going to get the member page and put it in the link, put it in the chat.
So while she's doing that, this is Joy again, and I added the annotated list of the books that we're going to donate to 20 libraries. Again, just if you want to read about them there. There are several that are related to topics that Catherine touched on today. And we'll be happy to give those to 20 libraries.
Okay, so you should see that now. So when you're looking at membership is, NERs is basically for New England, but we send you a newsletter that is monthly, and it'll give you how we're supporting our partners. Also, any of the trainings that are coming up, you'll see that, not just the ones that are done in New England or from our office, but the ones that are done throughout the nation that are coming up. And you can go into the NNLM NER webpage and also go and click on their training in the calendar. And maybe there's something that you wanted to do that is asynchronous that would be for a couple of weeks instead of something that's just a sit and listen to someone chat like me. Any other questions? This has been a joy. And
Catherine, did we need to capture the zip codes of the people that are attending?
I do need to get zip codes. If you could pop your zip code into the chat, that would be awesome.
And then I'm going to add again the link to our website that has all the other. It has all of our continuing education workshops listed. We have several this summer and several more related to this grant. So there's a reminder of that.
I wanted to endorse these resources, having worked as a medical librarian, and also I had a consumer health collection for a period of time while I was at Copley Hospital. The resources are timely, current, rich, treasure trove, reputable. I can't say enough about the value. I just want to make that comment.
Thank you. That's great perspective.
Well, thank you for the zip codes. That is very helpful. Although we don't identify people, we try to see where everyone is coming from, throughout our counties. So that really is amazing. There's a lot of numbers there.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions or comments or other ways that you've used these resources that you want to share before we stop?
No? Well, thank you again. Please contact me if you are looking for any programming or have any questions, and Joy and I will get out these slides to you so you can use them. They will probably come out in sections because we found that our computers do not like to send out large documents.
Catherine, actually, that reminds me that I already have them. So, because you sent them to me.
That's right. So you send them out with your information, and I appreciate if anyone does the final slide link. I tried to put it into the chat and it won't copy for me.
Is that your email address?
That was not my email. It was the evaluations information.
Okay, so I can take that off the slide and send it to everybody. I will do that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Catherine. This was wonderful. I've learned a lot, and we're excited to share this with other Vermont librarians who I know many have used your organization for some great programming, and hopefully that will increase even more after this training. So thank you again, and we will be in touch soon.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.